got to man up and go play through it. It is what it is. I can remember going to Bloomington, Indiana, and coach telling us that you just got to go play. Unfortunately, they're not going to call nothing. Guys was getting held, getting pushed to the ground. Man, it was a great game. I had goosebumps watching that game.
It was a fun game. Like I said, it's the craziness of the unpredictability of, like, one time somebody gets wiped out. That's like for example, Wagler got 2 calls at the end that I don't think he was fouled on, and you could have called plenty of other fouls earlier in the game. It was strange to figure out, like, what is a foul and what isn't a foul. But that's the Big Ten that doesn't want to. Again, they don't want to pay for referees to be full-time employees. They'd rather piecemeal it and spend their $1 billion in other ways. So that's a choice that nobody has anything that they can't really do about it. But the fact of the matter is you got to do something. If I was playing Illinois, I would literally run the fast break off of every made Illinois basket. I would, if you guys remember back in the day, Hank Gathers and that Loyola Marymount, they had like 5 plays that they ran that basically when the other team scored, they ran fast breaks. And I would do that and force Illinois to go up and down the court. 2 things. One, if I can beat them down there, I get layups. Michigan State did that all game long, or at least for 3/4 of the game. And then the second thing is you tire them out for the last 2 minutes of the game or 5 minutes of the game because they're so tired of running up and down the court. And Illinois' got to figure out a way to get to deal with that because, again, of all the stats, we look through the stats here, that one stat of, Illinois field goal, Illinois shot 37, Michigan State 43. They're in shooting distance. Field 3-pointers was 28-29 to the advantage of Michigan State. Free throws was 83-87, advantage of Michigan State. Turnovers, Illinois only had 4 turnovers. So that I would have thought Illinois would have had more than that against Michigan State. Points off of turnovers, Illinois got 4, Michigan State got 5. Total rebounds were 48-38. That's the other thing. There was, and Marcus, you mentioned it, there were several sets of at least 3 possessions where multiple rebounds went to Michigan State. That gives you 6 points that you can get back, but they didn't do that. And then you look at second chance points, 14-12 for Illinois, bench points 21-13 for Michigan State, 36-30 points in the paint, to your point, Marcus, for Michigan State. But then fast break points, 22-0. So, I mean, if you're going to look at, like, what do we do to win games, how about find a way to get down to the other end of the court before the other team does?
Facts.
I mean, no offense, but that's an easy one that jumps off the stat sheet. And we could, I don't know about you guys, but we were watching it real time here going, gosh, guys, you got to get back. You got to find a way to do that. And then you look at blocks. Illinois was 5-4, steals, Illinois 5-3, assists 18-13, Michigan State. It was a close game. It was nip and tuck the whole way. Yeah, Illinois could have won it. Yeah, Michigan State could have won it by a little more. But, rebounding, Michigan State did a better job getting down the court. And then you have the Breslin effect, which is, it is what it is. So but it wouldn't made any difference if you would have stopped some of those, getting the ball out and getting down court faster than you do.
I would have guarded the ball. When I saw how he was moving that ball up and down the court, I would have just kept a guard sitting in Jeremy's pocket right there so he couldn't explode up the court. Because he was, as soon as that ball was, he was hunting that ball and he was pushing it the length of the court. I would have just put a guard up there. Hey, I want you to pick him up at 3/4 court just to slow down that transition. Because, man, and I remember Mateen Cleese used to do that too. That's a staple of Michigan State basketball.
I'll go from an X's and O's standpoint. I know Coach Underwood is a 90% man. Nobody was really looking for the ball except for Boswell. For Fears. Getting to the basket and allowing him to flop like that, You eliminate that. You play the zone. If they make a three like they did in overtime, so be it. I thought that was huge. I would have stayed in it. You got one of your bigs foul out because of it. The second thing is for the first time tonight this year, I think since January 17th, they missed Kylan Boswell. I'm going to say I don't know what's going to happen in the next game. I have no idea when they play Wisconsin what's going to happen. But Keaton looks exhausted. And tonight, by not having Kylan Boswell chase Michigan State up and down the floor because they pushed the ball down the floor, I thought he was tired. And maybe I'm wrong, but he looked exhausted. And I'm sorry, that's what I saw. He had no legs on his shot. His drives, he was off balance. I mean, he just didn't look himself.
I think he was off balance for more than just fatigue, though, Ken.
Mike, you know what? I know. And I see people up here, and I know they want me to go off on these officials, but I don't want to be fired. So I'm trying to be nice. And I have a bunch of kids at my high school who listen to these podcasts. So I don't want them to go to school Monday and say, "Kid, why do you talk like that?" But if you text me, email me, it's free game, baby. I'm telling you, that's why I'm sitting here. I'm really frustrated. It's tough. I understand. It's a tough job. It's a tough job to play. It's a tough job to officiate. No matter what, I can respect bad calls. It's going to happen because you're not going to make every shot. Keaton Wagler had 46 points against Purdue, and he missed shots, unfortunately. So nobody's perfect. But I'll be damned if I can sit there and let an official call a foul. There was a foul that, if you go back and watch the game, which I wouldn't recommend anybody to do, where Ben-Hum Rickhouse fouled a guy from Michigan State. It was clearly a foul. He had his arm in the cookie jar. The fans started booing, and before I say anything, my daughter yelled, "Watch him call a foul," and the hand went up. That's the kind of shit that I'm tired of. The coaches call it. The fans call it. Call what you see. That's your job. At the end of the day, you don't have to answer anybody because of that. You just don't. And for all you people out there, now I'm not saying it would have made a big difference. I don't want to see Brad Underwood yell and scream and cry like he's 2 years old with the damn pacifier in his mouth. But for all you people out there that want to know why Brad Underwood doesn't chew people's asses out anymore, because people complained about it. So he can't do it anymore. And that's sad. So now you have to go there and take what Tom Izzo gives you and everybody else on the road because he has to be Mr. Nice Guy. And that's too bad because he should be able to challenge officials just like everybody else. I'd like to see Brad Underwood on the court. I'll tell you what, Brett Bielema has no problem doing it. That's a staff meeting that I think needs to be had with all the Illinois coaches because Brett will let them have it. You cannot stand there. And I know he's going to fight for his team. Brad is going to fight for his ball club. But I'm tired of watching guys sit out there and the official coach yells foul and they throw that damn right hand up and blow a whistle. Tired of it. Sorry.
Yeah, you got any thoughts on that, Marcus?
I agree with that has been happening since the end of time. I never understood that.
Well, we know you experienced it, right? Against Arizona?
Yeah, I never understood that because, Kev, I swear, you be sitting there like I'd be like, you wasn't even going to call that until the fan said something.
Yes.
It's just,
and
but
Marcus, why are they flopping now? It looks like the NBA. I mean, like, think about how many flops you see. There was a play we all saw where Jake Davis set the screen. It was kind of an aggressive screen. It was kind of scary. Then the Michigan State guy falls over, and he acts like he got shot by a freaking 357 Magnum. I'm like, it's the flopping is just, don't bring that into a college game.
Oh,
then I'm going to go to high school.
Coming. The flopping is coming because it is about highlighting the defense in bad positions. So we're going to dramatically make it look like we was contact because at the end of the day, it's about putting the defense in a negative situation by maybe adding fouls to their team, putting us in a positive situation by getting free throws. And if the referees now, I believe, if you want to get rid of it, put a foul on whoever flops. You review it. If it's a flop, foul. If it's not a flop for faking or for flopping, it's an automatic foul or automatic technical.
Yes.
It goes to team technicals, not individual. Or if you really want to get rid of it, you make it an individual technical. You get another one of them, you out of the game.
If that's the case, the only wins because Fears flopped more than some of the bass I caught last summer.
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. I wouldn't trust the refs to make calls like that. So, who the hell knows what kind of calls?
Well, Mike, you're right, because you know what? We saw Phil stick his leg out and they didn't call. So, Mike, you're exactly right. Good point, my friend.
What did you say?
Well, there was a play, I don't know if you saw it, Griff, where Phil stuck his leg out. It should have been intentional, a flagrant. We all saw it, and they didn't call it. So Mike's right. Why put the rule in play? Because they'll make the judgment and say, this isn't what I see. It's kind of like how the world is today. You can see something, but I guess you don't see it with your own eyeballs unless you're blind. Yeah, you saw it.
The funniest thing is these morons who are MSU fans, and it's not all of them, just a few on Twitter, who are like, oh, you guys whine too much. And it's like, your coach is Tom Izzo. There has never been a coach ever who whines at refs. And apparently these guys have never been to a game, because if you go to a game with Tom Izzo, he literally spends the whole game screaming at the refs. And I love the part about, I'm going to do the right thing, and make him a better person. But when the refs threatened to call that foul, he literally looked like he was going to have an aneurysm. And there's a mythology around all these great coaches, no matter who they are. They're not the perfect person that you think about. I'll go all the way back to John Wooden, who has his pyramid of values. Google it if you haven't seen it. But John Wooden was a 500 coach, slightly over 500, until Sam Gilbert got aligned with the UCLA program and started paying everybody, and UCLA ripped off 9 in a row. And those values are a heck of a lot better when you got Lou Alcindor at center for you. So look, these guys, they do what they need to do to win, and that's how they get paid. Tom Izzo fears and he doesn't win this game. The big boosters at Michigan State are pissed off, and why didn't you play him? So, I mean, he's making the decision that he has to make, and it's, it is what it is.
It works out to his advantage. And here's the deal. Some of the people on our comments are right. We shot the ball like crap, and I don't know how you guys feel. We didn't go to Andre down the stretch, and we stopped going to David, and I'm going to be honest with you. I agree with our comments, because we did. We didn't shoot great. Because I mentioned there was threes that Zonovan missed, there was threes that Jake Davis missed that have typically been money in the last 12 games. And seriously, my bread and butter would have been, like Griff said, Thomas Law would have got that ball on the post so he could have went beast mode, and I would have fed David, because they could not guard him. And they couldn't stop Stojakovic. We stopped going to that. So our comments are 100% right.
And Davis going through the lane, I thought Davis going through the lane, he got some good looks for other players. I thought he played. And then Rickhouse, for all the people who complain about him, he hit the shots when they needed him. I mean, I would have.
Forget the shots, the defense that he played. Like, the
I agree.
Defense, the fighting. But I want to take it somewhere else real quick, guys. I learned more about Illinois in this loss than the win that I saw in Purdue. Because I saw, when it gets, you got to dig deep time, them boys learned that they believe that they can stop something. They can play defense. They can play defense. Their only issue is they have to keep them little bitty guards out of the paint. They got to keep them out of the paint, because they're going to see it again. I don't think they're going to see it again until Michigan, but I see big things from this team. I don't know about how y'all feel after this loss, but I don't think this loss had put more commitment in what I think this team can do.
Mark Griff, there's an old thing, and this is coaches speak, but if I'm Brad Underwood today, you're not going to have a 1 for 18 or whatever shooting performance from Keith Wagner. That typically doesn't happen. But here's my teaching moment as a coach. You're in the matchup 2-3 zone. You don't miss assignments.
Yep.
If we have mismatch advantages, because Thomas Law is our best low post player, we can't miss that. Forget your 3 points. You get on the block and you get the 2 points, and you possibly get an and one. I learned that, and I also learned where you have to communicate and talk on the back end, because there were times when Fizz was coming down the court. You could see they're looking, and some people are talking. There's miscommunication. That's the part where you miss with Kylan Boswell, having him on the floor. I think the players are trying to do that, but this isn't a bad loss. Like I said to you earlier, Illinois wasn't favored to win. I still would say this. They're a better team, but if I had a concern, You lost to UConn, who's an athletic team, and you lost to a team like Michigan State. The bodies, and I said it before the game, before, on our pregame podcast, you cannot just out jump Michigan State. You can be 7'15". They're going to go get the ball because how many offensive rebounds they are taught to go get it and use their athleticism. We didn't do that tonight. You can't. You're not against some teams. You can use your size. Athletes, you're not going to do that. And Griff mentioned the word Michigan. They're athletic just like UConn and just like Michigan State. Michigan State is not a great three-point shooting team. Nope. You take away the secondary break, and I'm serious, you win that game. And rebound.
Yeah, you got to rebound. You got to take away that break. But I can remember we started doing NBA with Coach Self because of Michigan State. We had to get so tougher on the glass. And it is literally throw the ball on the backboard. There's no fouls. Biggs, you go get it. You got to play at a 5 because of Coach Izzo. We was going up against them Flint boys, and we had to get tougher on that glass because it is a war. When that ball goes up against Michigan, as long as Tom Izzo there, it's going to be like that. And it's the same thing tonight. That ball goes up there, they're sending 4 to that offensive glass every time. And it just bit us in the butt this time.
Yeah, and look, I do think, though, you're right. I mean, they run the meat drill, right? You know, I mean, that's what every coach, I mean, we ran that with all my teams. It's a great drill. And you have to be able to execute and go after the ball with single-minded purpose. I thought Michigan State did that better than Illinois tonight. And again, I'm going to try to tire Illinois out, and I'm also going to try to take advantage of the fact that they aren't the quickest team up and down the court. Yep. So, you know, the minute the ball goes in the net, I got a guy grabbing it, and I'm, you know, I'll get it to a guard at the free throw line extended and have him pass it to somebody down at the other, you know, out at the other free throw line, get them moving, you know, and it worked. And, you know, I think that's Illinois' got to figure that out. So I don't feel particularly bad about the loss. I thought that Illinois played about as good as you can play. And I thought Wagler needed to see that where somebody was going to throw the concentrated defense on him. Oh. I didn't think that was going to happen. I really thought that this was going to be the game because Fears is really good and he's strong and he's quicker. And I think you guys both said it and people have said it in the comments. You basically they missed Boswell something fierce today because you needed him to be able to, not just because Fears is quick, but you needed somebody strong enough that could just kind of push him away. And, you know, Boswell could maintain his space away from Fears defensively. And I think that would have come in really handy tonight.
Guess what's going to happen? You saw what Michigan State did tonight. You don't think everybody else is going to do that to him?
I don't know if anybody else has.
Mike, it wasn't athleticism. They ran 2 people him, and they were in position. Every time he went left, he went right. They took away his step back. They kept 2 people, and they took his passing lanes away. He didn't. Usually, if you do that to him, he's able to throw the ball to Thomas Law for a 3. He only got that a couple times tonight. Michigan State threw the right defense at him, and you're right, everybody's not athletic, but if you put 2 quick guards up there, don't have to be big. They took away both hands from him.
I agree, but look, the middle was open. So you put somebody in there, you know, you break it down. I mean, there's different ways to break it down. Tyler is going to have to sit there. I mean, you know, basically I always thought you try to figure out a way to get the ball in the paint. And so I'm going to change up some of my movements on that. And maybe it isn't going to be quite as open for the drive, but you know, Stojakovic and Merkovich, if you get them the ball at the elbow or around in the circle, they were making hay with the left hand with Merkovich and Stojakovic getting in the lane as well. So, I mean, there's ways to skin a cat. I just don't think many teams, and, you know, you can credit Izzo for this. I don't think many coaches coach defense any better than he does. I'm not certain in the Big Ten. I mean, you guys think there's any defenses as good as Michigan State's? I'm not certain there are.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're froze, but we can.
Yeah, my screen. So this is just something off. This is just me. I hope I don't get hung out on a tree for this or what I'm about to say. But basketball is not for the smart. for the smart guy. It is not a smart man sport. It's a reactionary sport. So you don't have to try to reinvent the wheel. There's nothing wrong with setting a ball screen. They switch. Hey, you 7'2". You got a 6'5" dude guarding you. Let me throw it to you. Let's slow the game down and let's see if we can utilize that. That's all I'm saying. I just wish that when we get boggled down in offense, that we go to stuff like that. Because today showed me that Timmy wants that smoke. He wants the ball. He said it from the first time he got the ball, when he pointed to the ground, when he was like, give me the ball right here. He wants that. And I just wish that we would take advantage of it more often.
Yeah, and I was like you. We were wondering, would there be a situation where the Illini would try to get the ball to Wagler, and because Fears is strong, but there's 5.5 inches of height there. Could you have gotten it inside and got him into foul trouble like that? That would have been, kind of something I would have at least tried to run a little bit.
Did he have any fouls?
I think Fears had 1, maybe. No, he had 3. He had 3 fouls.
But I haven't seen a point guard like him in college in a very long time. He is an old school throwback too. He reminds me a slower version of Chris Paul.
Yeah.
He looks like Martin Cleaves to me. I know it's a Michigan State guy.
That's pretty good too.
He looks like Martin because neither are really, really great shooters, but they run Tom's offense. And I'll tell you the play that frustrates me. It's not illegal, but it's borderline, but it's not. I wouldn't call it. You guys all remember when he went to the basket, and it's a really nice play that Tom draws up. He starts on the left side. He puts his ass in you. Then his big screens you so you get a wide open layup. You guys remember that? There's no way. You can't defend that. That is a really, really good playback. And that's why, and then you foul him, or if you touch him, or if you wink at him, I guess, you get a foul. He's a 90% free throw shooter. It's a really, really good play. I think Illinois needs something like that. I think they had it a couple times with Zonomir, because I've seen them slip screens with him and with Stojakovic. Zonomir missed 2 wide dunks. He's the biggest damn man on the earth right now, and I think he's jumping too high. He misses those dunks before.
Yeah. Like I said, you go to the stepping in the lane was a mistake. You go to
that's a scouting mistake. Mike, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. If you want to get mad at me, yell at me. I'm sorry. That's a scouting mistake, because I have watched that kid number of times. He gets the ball and he will pause. Mike, there's been every game. Every game I think I've watched them play, a guy will jump in the lane. And the guy standing next to David, he laughed, and I think he said, you can read his lips, he does this to everybody. Sorry to cut you off, but he does that all the time. That's scouting report. Those are just tiny things that you pick up on that you should know. Sorry, my fault.
No. I used to hate the guys who did that little spin move right before they shot it, because you're like, is he going to go up now? Is he not? And then, that means anything to throw off your timing. I mean, I don't have a problem with that at all. That's gamesmanship that you're supposed to do. But I do think, the bottom line is Illinois got to, I think now, after winning 12 in a row, I think Illinois now, when Underwood talks to them, they may listen a little closer, and there's things they can get from this game to make themselves better. And again, it's just like Nebraska. When Illinois lost that game to Nebraska, it wasn't a huge loss. It was a close loss. And so, they can use these things to get better. It all depends on, do you want to listen to coach or not?
They should. And I think they know. And they've come a long way. Griff is right. I think this loss, it doesn't kill you. I just think it hurts your soul. It hurts mine. I'm not going to lie to you for a lot of reasons. I wanted to win the game. I really did, so I can rub it in Jeremy Field's father's face. That's what I wanted.
The season's not over yet, kid.
Well, they may not get to play him in the Big Ten tournament, but maybe the tournament's not in East Lansing, so maybe Illinois will have a chance. And you know what was sad? I'm being sarcastic here, but I'm telling the truth. The foul that David Mercury got at the end of the game, Michigan State never touched him. You talk about a flop himself. I was like, are you trying to even the fouls up? Are you trying to make
that both his and one of maybe even two of Wagler's. There was at least 2 fouls that Illinois wasn't touched at all. That was, but that makes the fouls look a little better at the end if you throw like 3 fouls on Michigan, to make it 19-21. That looks pretty close. But again, I don't know that I was upset as much about the foul calls as sometimes one thing was a foul and next time it wasn't. As a player, that used to drive me nuts because I couldn't figure out what I can do and what I can't do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, trust me.
Mike, help me if I'm wrong. There's a comment here. What about the one guy that just gave Carr a concussion? Is that when he went up and got a shot block? Please tell me.
He hit his head on the ground.
Okay, I don't know.
There was no contact on that. That was
not
just
zero contact. He went in. You know why he hit his head on the floor? Because he tried to go in and break the damn rim and got rejected. That's why he fell. I don't even think he touched his body. So if he almost had a concussion, then damn it, get some shades or whatever you want to call it and call it.
Well, you hope he's okay, man, because that I mean, just watching that play hurt. You know what I mean? And I just hope the kid's okay. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. So
I'm a jerk tonight. I'm sorry. I have no comment on that. I'll let you guys be the nice guy tonight. I have I'm hot. Jeff, listen to me, man. There's some personal things behind the scenes with me and that Papa Fear's dad. I'm ignoring my text message from him right now because I have to eat crow. And then I give him the smoke, and I send a couple of videos of Tom Izzo crying with some Similac or Enfamil, drinking a baby bottle because he cries all the time. I am mad because they didn't win the game, and they played good enough to win. But at this point, that's beside the point. I can't make it personal. I have to be professional. Bottom line is, Illinois played one of their worst games shooting-wise and still had a chance to win. They did. They went to overtime, and that's all we can ask. And how about this, guys? Jake Davis is a guy that didn't play a lot, didn't play in some games. Those free throws, I was asking people, who's the player of the game? You go Stojakovic, you go with Merkovic. Griff, do you know how many guys that play 40 minutes a game that walk up there and go 0 for 2? That dude walked up there and made both of them like it was nothing. You can't take that stuff for granted because the game doesn't go into overtime if he doesn't do that.
Well, and they even did the timeout to freeze him, and it didn't work. I mean, you got to give the kid credit for that. Like I said, there's a lot of – I mean, look, I don't like it when Illinois loses, but this game, there's a lot here that Illinois can pick. You go play Michigan State in one of the toughest places in the Big Ten. You take it to overtime. Keaton Wagler has his first bad game of the year, and basically you don't shoot well, and you got to give Michigan State credit for that. Their defense was great, and so you end up basically they end up losing this by the same amount they lost to Nebraska. Basically on a last second shot. Essentially. Like similar to the Nebraska loss at Illinois, there's things Illinois can work on, and they're not far from being good. But man, they've got to figure out a way to get up and down the court a little quicker when you make a basket.
Hey, I'm not losing my mind here, but you know what I want to see? There's some McDonald's that have like robot referees. I mean, like workers. I want to see some different officials.
Oh my Lord.
I do. Give me some AI officials, man.
I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna like them any better.
I'm kidding. I'm sorry. I gotta laugh.
Y'all pay way more attention to the officials than I do. Because I have learned now, especially at this age, I wish that I could go back to when I was 19, 20 years old and understand officiating now. But my mind is more. And Mike, you said this earlier. What can I do when I see how the officiates is calling the game? How can I adjust myself? And how can our team adjust? If they're calling it favoring one side or the other, if they're calling it soft and we used to playing physical. That's how I'm looking at the game. Like during the game, I never once thought, oh my God, it's bad call after bad call, bad after bad call. But I was thinking, how can we adjust to these calls?
I thought that I've had games.
I have a question
where there's bad calls, though.
I love you to death, but I want you to answer this for us and all the people out there. I played the game too, and it's not at your level. I did play college basketball, but not at your level. I understand that. Just me, I'm not telling my kids that because here's why I don't. You teach your kids to play defense. Whether it's gap defense, don't play with your hands and move your feet.
Yeah.
If you get people who run into you and they flop, you can't adjust to that. You were a part of the game. You told us in one of your podcasts, or one of these podcasts, when you guys got taken to the woodshed by Arizona, you guys were trying to figure out how to adjust. And every time you guys tried to adjust, the fools and zebra called something else. So how do you do it? Because there was a time where Andre Soyakovic stood there, and I know damn well we all saw Jeremy Fears run into him and fall over and kick his legs. And one time he fell and hit the floor in the first half, and they didn't call it. So you can't adjust to it because you have to play defense. You can't just stand there. So I'm asking you, how do you adjust? Because you got to play defense, man. You put your hands up, you move your feet, you play help defense. You can't reach over. I mean, I'm asking because at some point in time, honestly, you can't. At least I can't. I'm waiting for an answer because I don't know, buddy. I don't.
Okay, so this is two parts. So if the question is how you address flopping, the players can't address flopping. That is a referee situation. The NCAA needs to condone flopping. If you flop, like I said earlier, technical. Now, forget the flopping aside. If you're going into a hostile place and the referees is just not giving you the whistle and it's no flopping, you just going into Indiana and Indiana is getting 4-1 foul calls on you. That's what I'm talking about. How do we figure out how can we then turn the tide? That's the mental makeup that I'm trying to figure out there. But with the flopping, there's nothing you can do about it. That has to be done with the referees because the referees are stupid enough to fall for it, and they're gonna continue to fall for it.
In high school, Marcus, I handled that when a guy flopped twice, and got one of our guys in foul trouble like in the first 30 seconds of a game. And I told him, I said, if you set a pick on me, I will earn the foul. And sure enough, he'd set a pick on me the next time. I knocked him out.
But see, now you do that.
I just went over to the bench because I knew I was getting teed up,
Like
But
you
I
was flopping when you was in high school. It wasn't flop back then, was it?
Oh man, this guy. I tell you what, it was a guy from Clinton, and every time one of us got near him, he was the guy I think who pioneered the soccer sniper thing, because he would just and go down, and so I just did one of these on, as I go across the pick and accidentally hit him in the ear. So
Mike, where's the stat of fouls? Because I remember like I said, the fouls were 19 for Michigan State and 21 for Illinois. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because Illinois doesn't foul out. You remember there were 62 fouls, were 62 early. I mean, think about that. They're the least fouling team in the country. I don't know if I think, what is the average? 7 or 8, and they had 19.
They averaged 12, I think. They averaged 12 a game.
Okay, so I mean, maybe it's just
Illinois 21. So I guess for a Breslin game, this was probably pretty good. And again, if you just stop the fast breaks, Illinois could. If you could stop them half the time on the fast breaks, Illinois wins this by 10 or 11 points. Or as Marcus said, if you block out and get 4 or 5 more rebounds instead of them going to offensive rebounds, you win the game. So there's plenty of things that Illinois can control, and I think Marcus hit it right. You can't control the refs, so you got to figure out what do we do that next game that gives us a better chance to win. Well, figuring out how you're getting down to the other end of the court. And then the other thing is, Underwood may have to decide, I'm going to play Petrovic a little bit so that Wagler isn't so tired. And maybe Lee needs to play a little bit. I mean, these are things that Illinois can control, and that's kind of what you got to go on. I mean, is that what you were talking about, Marcus?
Yes. He just remember a couple of weeks ago, and I was talking about his usage, how much he has that ball in his hands.
Yeah.
But the level of defense today, this is the first level of defense since this run that we have seen Wagner experience.
Yeah.
He had
since
somebody,
UConn.
Yes, yep. Since UConn, athletic, long, just like him, and they just wanted to beat him up. I'm pretty sure other teams, I don't know what the other teams in the Big Ten, they makeup look like. But I will bet every money that I have in the bank account, teams are going to have this game. and they are going to make it their blueprint. We're going to always keep another big over in his hip pocket. We're going to have the other guard. We're going to get the ball out of his hand. We're going to grab him. We're going to push him. We're going to trip him. We're going to do whatever it takes. We're going to physical him up, because if they're going to keep the ball in his hand for 30 minutes at the end of the game, we're going to make sure that his legs are tired, because we're going to run him on offense. We're going to run him when they got the ball. We're going to run him when we got the ball. And then in half-court sets, we're going to beat him up and be physical with him. So Petrovic needed to play at least 10 minutes, because if you take 10 minutes off of him and you put it on him and take it off of Wagner, look how much fresher his legs are going to be in overtime.
And what people don't get, Griff, which we all know, you play 39, 40 minutes in a game, then you got to go to practice the next day or next day after. You may have a shoot around. It wears on you. And Mike and I have been saying from early on, even though when it became evident that Petrovic wasn't going to play, you're going to pay the price for it. Do you guys realize when Keaton did go out the 2 times, David Merkovic was bringing the ball up the court? I mean, what does that really look like?
But you could get away with that tonight. Sure, I mean, the matchup was okay there.
Yeah.
But in reality, the offense is stagnant to a certain degree because he doesn't play. And he's not going to play now. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that he's going to, and we want him to play and all this stuff and all this. Mike, there's a person that they want to get rid of here, so I don't know if you want to do it or not. But point being, I don't know if it's going to happen now, and I know there's some tough games coming up. But also this loss stings, but at the end of the day, it's a road loss, and there's other games. Michigan has to play Michigan State again. I know Nebraska is going to get Michigan, I don't think they play Michigan State again, but you're going to have some more tough games. Purdue barely got by Oregon today. Illinois just needs to take care of business. The 12-game winning streak was a nice ride. It was a nice ride. Now you got to buckle back down, like Griff said, get back to a drawing board, and go back to work. That's all.
No more slip-ups. You got this one, and even though you don't have any more ranked opponents until you get to Michigan on the 27th, playing UCLA, playing USC, playing those teams, playing Minnesota, playing Indiana. Indiana just knocked off Purdue, so don't go into their place thinking that it's going to be sweet, like they just going to roll over and die for you. So you still got some games that's still going to put the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. So just take care of business, and hopefully when you see Michigan on the 27th, that's for the Big Ten championship. And then you still got 2 more games after that to hold down the fort.
It's a tough stretch here because you got Wisconsin. You got Indiana, who's playing well. I would have rather played them 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then you got to go out to the West Coast, so they're gonna have to learn from this, and they're gonna have to. That's why I know some people are getting mad, but it's like you got to find what you can learn and control to get better. You can't just throw up your hands and blame the everybody else. You got to figure out what your controllables are. And I think this team, like I said, you end up losing a game in overtime in a challenging place. Then you got to figure out what you do different when you go up against, Wisconsin here and it is on Tuesday, I guess. And you got to play better to take them out. I mean, everybody wants to beat. If you're ranked in the top 2 or 3 in the Big Ten, everybody wants to beat you. So there's not a lot there.
No, they're not. And you can't have a slip up. And this isn't a slip up. It's one that you let go, but it's not a slip up. A slip up is losing to a team like USC.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. I mean, it just is. And you cannot lose at home no matter what. And I'm really curious to see, what they'll do in the polls, if they'll make Michigan State number 1 along with the officials. I'm sorry, Biff, I know you don't like us doing that, man, but I'm being sarcastic. But
which being in the polls? Michigan State in the polls number 1?
No, I'm being sarcastic, man. I'm just being stupid because I'm really curious to know what they'll do with them. They dropped 2. Well, they dropped to Minnesota this week, and I'm really curious to see. And then they beat Illinois. I'm really curious to see where Illinois falls.
They're going to be at 10.
Probably. And you know what, though? It should be higher than because it was an overtime loss. But a loss is a loss.
No, I was talking about Michigan State.
Oh.
Keep Michigan State at 10, and I think Illinois drops to 7 or 8.
Yeah, Ken Palm didn't change a lot tonight. We'll see tomorrow when more teams play. So, Illinois is at 4 and Michigan State's at 9. So there wasn't a huge change, but we'll see. We'll see what happens in the ratings.
Duke got beat tonight.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah, that Seth Trimble, who was a guy that was recruited a few years back. If you're going to only lead for 0.4 seconds of a game, North Carolina picked the right 0.4 seconds of a game.
Right 0.4.
So it is what it is. So anything else that you guys have as we wrap up here?
I'm gonna agree with Griff. I'll start off first. I'm gonna agree with Griff. This loss stings because if you're a fan, it hurts. No Michigan State fan is going to agree with you. Illini fans about the calls. I didn't get a chance to listen to the post-game press conference. I'm sure somebody probably asked Coach Underwood about the foul and what happened. And if Brad didn't like it, don't worry about it. He'll send it into the Big Ten. He does. All coaches do that if there's a call that they think is missed. And I'm going to speak for me. I can't speak for you two. It stinks crying about officiating all the time, and I want something done about it. Like, that's why I do it. I want something done. I want it to become better. There's only one perfect person in this world, and it's not all of us, but I understand that you're going to make mistakes, but this is too much. I don't want to see teams lose games, whether I root for the team or not. Don't let that be the reason you lose a game. And from a team standpoint, go get better. We just talked about it. Don't lose games you're not supposed to lose. Don't hang your head. This was a great game. And look where you are, Illinois fans. You're ranked 5th in the country. You're playing prime time on a Saturday night against Michigan State. Tom Izzo's been there for 15 million years, and this is different. Just think of what it was before Brad Underwood got there, or Brad Underwood's first 2 years. You couldn't get a game on PBS, on PBS TV. So you've made it. You've made it. Now you just got to jump over that ledge and finish it and get to a Final Four out of this group.
Marcus?
Illinois fans, take a deep breath, relax, shake it off. I learned more. We just learned more about this team in defeat than we ever thought we could. This team is coming. If they continue to stay focused, continue to build and grow together, and coaches can learn in-game adjustments, they will be fine. This was a blip on the road. We did not shoot well. I'm kind of worried about when we play against athletic wings that can guard, that don't give up a lot of space for you to shoot those wide open threes. I'm worried about that. We got some tough games coming up. Let's dust this off. I don't know if they practice tomorrow because I know they got a game on Tuesday. Let's dust this off, focus in, lock in, and let's take care of business on Tuesday before we take that West Coast trip.
And that Tuesday game is a Peacock game, which Ked loves. Yep. Ked loves Peacock, so I had to get that out there just to make sure everybody, if you're gonna be looking at your Peacock subscription when you want to cut it, maybe wait a few more days.
As soon as that game over,
I have to look at the rest of it.
No, I don't even think. I think mine already gone.
Yeah. It looks bad. I mean, what I don't like about it, I'm not impressed with the clarity of it. I think that's bad, but at least you can see the games. Back in the day, Griff, when you were playing, we used to have to sit in our car on the radio just to hear any of it on the radio station because the games weren't on TV. Now at least they're on TV, so I shouldn't say anything and complain about it, I guess.
Yep, as long as you had that Champaign station, I think
WCIA Channel 3.
Yep, that's the only way you watch the games. If you ain't had that, you was listening on the radio.
Every Thursday and Saturday. Yep.
If you was local, you could watch all the games on that station.
Yeah, those were the days back when
black and white.
Yeah, well, I didn't that old. We had color my whole life, but
okay.
We didn't have a remote control. I'd ask my dad. I go, "Hey, we need a remote control," and Dad goes, "Watch this," and I go, "What?" And he goes, "Change the channel," and I change it. He goes, "I don't need a remote control."
Yeah, I got you. I think every kid that had a parent that was multiple kids have been victims to that. I've been an antenna in my life. I have been the remote.
I don't know. Get up and move that antenna.
With your size, Griff, you probably got it. You probably were a great antenna.
Yeah, and then it gets so bad that when it's bad when you will you have a chair sitting right by the TV because you knew you was going to be sitting there too long.
With your name on it.
Be comfortable. Yep, got to be comfortable because mom be like, Griff. I need you to stay right there. Keep that arm right there. Don't move it. Nope. Yeah.
Well, it's so interesting to me because these two teams, it's funny because Illinois had a 4-game winning streak over them, and then now Michigan State's up to a 4-game winning streak over Illinois. They go kind of back and forth. So you could see that this is becoming a rivalry that like Indiana used to be one that people look forward to, but they've sucked for so long that nobody really cares anymore. It's kind of like Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan, Illinois.
I think the rivalries right now, honestly, I think Michigan's third on the list. Just by the perception from the fans, I think it's really Purdue, and I think it's Michigan State, then I think it's Michigan. I was no longer that guy. I mean, does it matter to beat them? Indiana's not even there anymore. I think it's those three teams because those are the teams. I mean, let's face it, that you battle. There's a lot of history with Michigan. I mean, from just football and everything else, and the Final Fours, and when Griff was playing in all those years. But it's typically right now it's Purdue, and a lot of it is it's the bickering amongst the fan bases, and you're going to see that for the next couple of days.
Yep. Well, folks, we will be back Tuesday with we will be doing at least a post-game show for sure after the Wisconsin game. And Illinois will need to get rested up and get ready to play. Of course, Wisconsin, I believe they lost to Indiana today, didn't they? So they'll be in a mood. Illinois caught like 4 or 5 teams coming off of losses, so they better be ready to play because I'm sure Greg Gard will be all fired up to win a game in Champaign, and he's had bad luck against Brad Underwood, so he'll be looking to reverse those fortune. Until next time, folks. Go Illini.
Everybody stay blessed. Have a good